they read your parameters. And we're like 17 minutes in, which is good. If we can take probably more questions at the end of makeup, but we want to make sure we get
the basics.
The basics first. So let's move on to the movement part. Because
physical, everyone.
The physical part. So obviously the makeup is important because that's the easiest way to turn into a robot, is to look like one. But then when you're putting that character into motion, I think you can look like a robot without having the makeup, and I think it's probably the most key thing. Because makeup's pretty cool to look at, but when you see someone doing the robot, that's like, oh wow, that's cool. I want to do that, and that's pretty much what we did. We saw people doing that. Shields and Yarnell from the 70s doing their robot couple. They didn't have much makeup on their face either, so it was really impressive. Bunny's gonna take this over now. The movement is really important, like David said. You don't need makeup necessarily. If people start seeing you move like a robot, it kind of blows their mind. So when we have those moments where we're super robotic and we look really robotic, I mean, like with the makeup and everything, it's like a powerful moment. And as far as performing it, obviously in Balboa Park we had a lot of dead time back in those days. Balboa Park, just to explain, we started as street performers, and Balboa Park in San Diego was our busking territory where we street performed. Yeah, sorry. We started out as street entertainers, and we have a lot of dead time where there wasn't any music being played, so we would do a lot of just pantomiming, and it was very, it was much more focused on the pantomime. These days, we have to keep an audience interested. We're not kind of this thing that you can walk by and kind of enjoy for a few minutes. So, and we have a lot of music to get through, so we kind of just choose our moments. And we kind of try to trick the audience in letting some of those moments go, where we don't need to be hyper-focused on the robot at times, and other times you do. So you just gotta find your beats. And that's been really challenging. It's the hardest thing to do, is do the robot and play a song and sing at the same time. And have all this junk on you. Like, it's really hard. It's actually really easy to do the robot when you're not on stage playing the song, because then you just have to focus on being the robot, and you don't have to worry about singing a harmony and playing an instrument at the same time. So, our best robot comes off when we're just interacting around a con, usually. Yeah, but just like learning an instrument, you do it enough times, and you can almost do it without thinking about it, and that's what you want to get to. So it works both ways, I think. You learn the music so you don't have to think about it, or you do the robot so you don't have to think about it as much, and you'll just casually slip into it here and there. So just like anything, just like drawing or any skill, you have to work it to death, and eventually you'll do it in your sleep. What's Sam's experience with this, since you've been doing it for about a year now?
It is minimal, and I still feel I have a lot of work to do, a lot of work to go, and I don't like learning so good, like properly wise. So I really like just learning. I've been learning mostly from these guys, and it's just a matter of letting go of your inhibitions and being a goofball to a degree. But what I'm really finding I have to do now is I have to work out, because otherwise, because I love to eat, so I have to work out now, and because it is the hard part is doing everything at once and having makeup on and a huge costume. So, and I know now I designed a costume for Hatchworth, and it's not really conducive to movement, so I have to design a new costume, and. So it's a lot of little things, but also, practicing, all that crap.
But you guys, when you're robots, you don't necessarily have to perform a show, so it's probably best to start at the roots of just being the robot character.
Yeah.
So I guess what's important for that would be to, you can actually be fluid and then just stop and, have a little beat, and suddenly you're a robot. So you don't have to be like stiff the whole time. You can be fluid and then just stop every once in a while, and that gives the illusion. And that's a good trick, because you're going to exhaust yourself if you're constantly. Should I demonstrate?
Yeah.
I'm the only one. half awake. So,
I'm awake, I just am not comfortable doing this kind of stuff.
so here is the super intense, really hard to do popping and locking. And you can do that for about like, I don't know, half an hour, and then you're done for the day. I can do it for like 5 seconds. And then so there you go. Really tense, and then when I stop, I'm actually letting everything go loose rather than tightening.
The ears?
So, yeah, the ears are pretty funny right there. And then, but they're super kawaii. If you're just kind of, so if you're just kind of walking around and you stop, you know, you're like freezing. That's the best way you can sell the robot without actually having to, you know, develop tumors in your arms because it's tense. Yeah, the freezing works wonders. I mean, just watching something being frozen, and it's actually quite, doesn't require much energy to just stand still. All you have to, you didn't even do it, I was up there for like 2 seconds.
Another recommendation, a small one, instead of looking at humans pantomiming robots, look at robots. That's also to see how they keep their balance and like, whoa, they look really, you know, uncanny, I guess is the term. But I just was introduced to Rock of Fire Explosion, and I was aware of that from my creepy childhood memories of going to Chuck E. Cheese and seeing those robots coming at you. But yeah, all the weird, you know, they're very limited in their articulation, you know, and so watch robots would help.
You can also like YouTube great moments with Mr. Lincoln and watch all those old Disney robots, because I mean actually they're quite... He got upgraded and he looks pretty good now. Okay, we'll watch the old ones because
As long as he doesn't gain
there's this thing that like robots like that do that you know, when they stop, like everything shakes, you know.
Yeah.
And that's I do that. I think a lot.
You do?
Yeah. In fact, it's almost like I'm stabilizing the spine all the time just by moving back and forth with my ankles and stuff. But we all have our own little things that we do. A real great way to sell the movement is do what your little kid wants to do and make robot noises, because that's what we do on stage, and everyone thinks it's like some sort of, that Steve's like hitting these precise, but it's really just us making fart noises. Yeah. But it helps a lot, you know, when you're like
with our mouths.
Oh yeah, we make it with our mouths. Well, sometimes. I mean, when Sam's had, you know, a veggie burrito before a show.
Yeah, the veggies, the broccoli goes, you know. Let's take some movement-related questions, if anybody has any. You right there.
Can you vary the movements based on what mechanisms the robot is built with?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, the very small times that I've done hatchwork screw neck is, you know, I do an annoying screeching sound, you know, like it's painful, and I'll just turn my head, and people know that I have the screw neck, and so there's a little bit of pre-knowledge to that, but to convey something new, I mean, I wouldn't know exactly. It depends.
I don't think there's any laws. You just have to have the idea.
It's cool to know what, you know, my arm isn't a ball joint, it's just an up and down joint, so you're just always like this, trying to figure out how to grab something.
Bunny actually, with Rabbit, is a lot more like stuff like that. And I only notice it because I do a different sound. I make it a lot more like the spine's supposed to be more like sleek and like maybe has been upgraded more, so it's more like more like.
I didn't notice that until now. That's pretty cool.
Like he's made with step motors or something, and Rabbit's made with actual gears. It's like the gears turning here.
Oh great! Now I gotta figure out what sound I'm gonna do. What if you told me that?
Oh, this can work for you. Maybe like a yeah, that's an excellent question, and thank you for that. That's whole, you could work on that stuff for your character forever, just, you know, making it unique.
You right here. Okay, so with the stride, are you conveying your robot weight with the stride? Are you doing that on purpose?
Well, when we first started, Bunny and I, back with John in Balboa Park, we would exhaust ourselves just walking. That was the hardest part, because we would do a lot of roaming entertainment back in the day when we were just doing smaller gigs. And then we kind of had to say, no, we can't do that anymore. So we kind of found ways to walk that didn't require as much energy. And so what I'm doing now, I can do that all day and it's not gonna hurt like it used to. It looked cooler back in the day, I think, on video, but what we do now works pretty well. I think mine's definitely like, it's a lot smoother than I think that maybe Hatchworth or
Well, I would say that you look heavier when you walk.
Oh yeah, I definitely take big steps and then just...
You look like you're slamming your feet down.
Yeah, I guess I do that. What do I look like I'm doing? You've said it more than I have.
but you're not hurting yourself. You're
right,
just kind of pantomiming that it looks heavier, you know?
Yeah. It's a, yeah. Yeah, we're talking about the same room. Most of the time when you're walking, people don't look, I mean on stage it's a little different. We only travel short distances, so it's not too hard, but when we're at conventions and stuff, you know, mostly if you distract people with your upper torso, they don't even know what's going on below. So, well, how do you guys walk? I mean, I just walk, flail my arms, like, look up here, come on! And then I'm just, you know...
I have it so my legs are moving faster, but my arms are striding.
Oh yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
And my legs are actually going like I'm way faster.
I like that we all have different things.
In the yellow.
Alright, so this may not be completely movement-based, but a lot of you, like I've noticed, Bunny wears tighter clothes around his thighs, and some of you have vests that are pulled in more. And for me, when I am my fan bot, I wear a corset. How is it doing the movements when you have more constraining clothes in certain areas? And how do you adapt to that?
How do you adjust those tight pants, Bunny? Well, yeah, so our first costume designer had the really high pants and I just got used to it, but I noticed it constricted my breathing considerably and I couldn't move. And then one day I was just like, I'm tired of this, and I just rolled them down for a show and I was like, all my movement came back and I was like, it's a cool look, but yeah, I mean now I can do so much more like waist movement, which looks pretty cool on camera, so yeah, I think you gotta be comfortable, but so it's a balance, you know. If you want tight pants, just don't make them go up to your nipples like I did. So, and then you won't pass out on stage. Yeah. But I had a constricting vest for a while, and at shows I just eventually just stopped.
But that was for your breathing, for singing.
Well, breathing as well. Yeah, I couldn't sing very well with all that constriction and stuff. So yeah, costume is definitely important consideration when you're going to be doing the robot for a long time. I mean, you're already having problems with, having a jacket on.
At first, I liked the constriction because it meant I wasn't as loose, and but now it's just like it's a hamperance, if you will. So I would like to have my muscles be constricting instead of the costume. That way I can breathe and have more freedom of that.
But good job powering through that corset stuff. I don't envy you.
Helpful or hindrance, corset? Helpful?
I wear them for basketballs.
Oh, okay.
If you want to look like you're more proper than you actually are, a corset doesn't let you do this. You're just sitting there like, and everyone's like, oh, you're so proper, you're so pretty, and you're like, ha, I can't even move.
Well, being stoic and very solid looking is a very good robotic trait.
It's just not very good for singing. If you can do it, that's great, but I don't know. It's hard to sing. Well, that's when I had my vest thing. I usually buttoned it when I wasn't on stage, so because it was like, I don't have to breathe. I'm just going to be.
We'll take a couple more costume questions. Let's do.